Up next is the Actress Roundtable. Please welcome to the stage Andy Ortiz, Karen Pittman, Natasha Rothwell, Olivia Munn, and Uzo Aduba.
Hello, hello, my friends. Please keep it going for these lovely ladies joining me on stage. Yes, I love it. Power Women Summit 2025. How are we feeling out here? I like that. That's good Tuesday morning energy. Guys, welcome. My name is Andy. I'm going to be your moderator, and I am joined by these four lovely ladies. And I start every single one of my interviews with the exact same question. It's very important. It's very hard to do with four people, but how are you guys today? Genuinely, how are you doing today?
Good.
Grounded.
My son just turned 4 years old.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And then my daughter just said today for the first time, she pointed and said, Daddy. And we were like, hold on. And I picked up like a vase and I was like, who's this? And she was quiet. Then she pointed back to Daddy. So we're very happy to have it confirmed. Yeah.
Knew what she was saying.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good, like a James Brown song.
You want to give us a little taste of that? If you, no, she said, no, I'm not going to do James Brown. Well, ladies, I am so excited to talk to you. And this is my favorite event of the year that we do at the Wrap. And what I want to start with, and Karen, I'll start with you. I really firmly believe when I watch something, I feel like I can always tell when a woman is at the helm. Or if it's a woman director, I can be like, a woman wrote that. A woman directed that. And on the morning show, you, of course, have a female showrunner. You have incredible female leads. It's a show that's really, really run by women. And I want to know from your perspective, how does that change things on set?
Well, how does it change things? It's way more efficient. If you're doing a sex scene, it's first thing in the morning because everyone knows you want to be fresh, honey. Fresh. You want to be fresh when you're doing them sex scenes. That is not something I've ever thought of, and you're so right. No one has offered me the morning sex time all the time. If I'm like, guys, I have to wear a lot of, can it be first thing in the morning? They're like, oh yes, of course.
Yeah, you got it. If you open up the chicken, it goes stale.
You
gotta cook it right away. That's just culinary school.
This is a weird follow-up. Is there like an ideal sex scene time? Like,
first thing in the morning.
But how early in the morning are we? Like 6 a.m.
Before you start eating and get that little pouch right there. You know what I mean? Before all that happens.
This is where I planned for this to go, you guys. I need you to understand. This is exactly what I want.
Makeup and hair. Makeup and hair is always on point. That's true for the morning show and for forever on the show I work with Mara Brock-Akil. But mostly, the morning show is great for telling really authentic stories about women. Nothing that's ever surfaced. I mean, the character that I'm portraying has expanded greatly in season 4. And I realized under the showrunner that we had, Charlotte Stout, it really has been about meeting out certain information to fill the audience with the desire to know more about her. And I think that women are really good at building expansive stories. Also, I think that Charlotte is really good about deciding that this is the time to speak to the tribe. She doesn't waste any moments in storytelling where it doesn't speak directly to women about how we feel. And she's so smart about that. She's not going to waste any time talking about my hair and the highlights. And then, she really does want to get down, doubles down on this idea of who are women right now and how are we feeling. And the morning show is really, really great for that.
I love that. I love that so much. I love that you get to experience that. And actually, what I want to do now, Uzo, I want to come to you because I want to call you out as a woman who has had an impact on set. And I'm going to put you on the spot in the best way. I promise. You're looking really scared.
Okay.
I was scrolling Instagram the other day, and the lovely Paul Walter Hauser put up a post, and it was actors who have made me feel 10 feet tall just because they were kind. They said a kind word to me, and you were included on that list, which I thought was really, really nice. So I want to ask you, what is the importance of being just like kind to the people around you on set, whether it's work or just in general?
Oh, I think it makes all the difference. One of my favorite quotes in the world is, he's actually passed away, Randy Pausch. He was a professor at Carnegie Mellon, and if you have a chance to watch it, everybody, you should check it out. It's the last lecture. And it's a quote that he says that is, never take a person's integrity. It means nothing to you and everything to them. And I love that because I think that's incredibly true. And I think you can really create, not only creatively, profound and energetic and energizing worlds if you come from a place of kindness when you come into a space, because it allows for freedom and vulnerability, and access, right? You can have the emotional access. People feel free to try. If it feels like, come right in, dive in, energy in the space. So I think that's important. I think it's also important to give people their space to be when you can feel or need that that's something that needs to happen. And it makes all the difference. Words matter. What we say to people matter. How it changes the energy in a room. And I said to Paul, when I saw that, I think I wrote something like, because you are indeed 10 feet tall or something like that. I don't know it doesn't cost anything to sort of live in that environment. I know I've had that kindness extended to me. I can speak directly to our dear Karen here. It was impactful in my life. In our early days starting out in New York.
God. We were auditioning together in the trenches.
Yeah. And working, and it makes a difference. It makes a holistic difference, I think, to how people can feel safe enough to do their work, or giving people the permission to be that they are safe and the freedom to feel safe and explore. So,
and if I can add, there's a difference between kind and nice.
Oh yeah.
And I've been on really nice sets and been deeply unhappy because there's this, it's the kabuki theater of like, we're performance art humaning versus just like, no, how actually are you?
Yeah, that's nice, nasty.
That's nice, nasty. Yeah. So everything you said, co-sign, but it's like so important to recognize what kindness looks like and the difference.
And it really matters when, I'm going to say something you guys have all been there, where there's somebody that's just really difficult with everyone. From you get into the make 'em trailer, you can feel the energy. Like nobody feels calm. You hear about it in costumes. You get on set. You just feel it, and then you'll go to the director or the showrunner, and they will have a million excuses of why they're like that. I just think they're just really neurotic about the character. I just think that they really just have they just care so much about the craft that you're like, they're just like an emotional terrorist on set, and it's.
You can care about the craft and be a dick.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think that's why you need people who are at the top to really, you need to cast, people need, we all hear this when there are people casting, what do you think about so-and-so? And people are like, don't go for that person. And then sometimes you see these certain people keep working and you're like, but we all know that you're not nice. And how is this happening? And I've asked those questions, and the answer I've gotten is like, oh, well, we hear it, but I don't think it's really happening, right? And I'm like, it's not happening because you're at the top, and it's affecting everybody down here. And when you get to set and you hear from your makeup artist or your hairstylist that so-and-so is being a jerk or saying something rude, you're like, it makes you feel like the whole production is bad. And so it's really important that the people at the top really do their due diligence to find people who are kind.
I'm a little terrorist on set, so what I do is I go to the PAs and I'm just like, and this is what I did on set for White Lotus. I was just like, who's your favorite today? Like, who's your favorite? And I'd give them money to get coffee for those that like they fucked with. And so then I would see on set who had coffee cups and who didn't.
What?
Yes.
This is diabolical.
It's diabolical.
Brilliant.
But here's what it did. And I did this over the course of the whole time. So every week I would just have like, okay, coffee run, and I'd pick a different PA. And I would see cups going consistently to people where I'm like, oh, you know, this person is consistently kind to the person that's doing the most grunt work. And then I see some people ain't never had a coffee. And they would be like, who's passing out the coffees? And I'd be like, oh, I don't know. And I just play dumb.
Now I know when I'm on set with
But
Natasha.
it means make sure you get it. Bring your own coffee. Bring your own coffee. I'll find you out.
I was gonna say, Natasha, do you then do like a prize for who didn't get, like, this at the end of the shoot? Are you like, you never got coffee today, you get a pizza party? Like,
No. It doesn't escalate. But usually what happens is the method to my madness was eventually revealed. And so people changed on set because they felt real like called out because they were the one that didn't have the, you know, the coffee that day. And so then over the course of the, you know, people have more. So anyway, be diabolical. It's fun.
I love it.
If there's one lesson you take away from this panel, be diabolical. Plan it out. Play the long game. Well, and Natasha, you mentioned the White Lotus. I want to get into specific shows right now, because the interesting thing about the White Lotus is you get to start in season 1, and then you get to take your time off, and then you get to come back from season 3. I imagine season 1 comes around. It's Mike White, sure, but you can't really know that a show is going to hit from the jump, can you? Like, I guess that's where I'll start. Did you know White Lotus was going to be the White Lotus when?
No, it was 2020. COVID, pre-vaccination, like groceries, wiping down your groceries, like time. So we were just like, we out the house. Like, we're just like happy to work and happy to like do this thing. And of course it felt special on set, but there were so many, you know, variables because one, it was like camp, like we all stayed in the same place, which is very atypical. And like, you have this weird sort of family dynamics arising behind the camera and in front of the camera. And so, but I had no idea that it was going to turn into what it turned into.
So then season 3 comes around, like you get to be part of season 1, it blows up. Then season 2 happens, it really blows up. And then you get to come back for season 3. I'm so curious about watching that evolution of the White Lotus, both from the inside and from the outside, as a fan and as a member of the cast. Talk to me about this.
Yeah, season 2. So first of all, I said goodbye to Belinda season 1. Like, there was no sort of like, you might come back. I literally was just like, that was an amazing experience. I watched season 2 with everyone else at home. Coolidge fell off the boat. I was like, fuck! And like, I was like, what's going on? Texted her, I was like, girl! And then it was after they sort of wrapped season 2. They were doing press around it. And that's when I knew I was coming back. And so it was amazing to resuscitate a character that I thought I'd, you know, said goodbye to, and to find new parts of her body and her mind. And Mike is just an incredible writer and so collaborative. And so to be able to be with someone, really say goodbye, observe season 2 as just a fan of the show and storytelling, and then to come back with that fandom, there was a little like hesitancy because when we did it, it wasn't White Lotus, Echo, like, you know, it was just like, you know, White Lotus. So when it was so big, I did have anxiety about like, oh, how will this feel? But it felt like, you know, Carrie Coon has a really good metaphor. She's like, putting on a character you've put on before is like putting on a wet bathing suit, where it's just like, it feels a little uncomfortable. You know it's yours, but it'll feel better when you get in the water. And so that's how I felt. Yeah.
Did the machinations on set change at all? I mean, were there any changes just from how Mike ran things from season? Because I have to imagine he learns how he wants to do a show. So what were the differences kind of behind the scenes in how they did it?
Well, the huge growth spurt, I would say, would be the season 2. Season 1, we remember COVID, like the NBA performed in a bubble, like they couldn't leave. We could not leave physically the resort that we were, like our key cards would die if we left the building. Like, it was contact tracing. You remember those days? Like, It was like crazy. And so to go from that to season 3, where it was just like we stayed at multiple locations. So much of the show was shot outside of the property. It just you felt the largeness of it all.
I believe it. And you're like, oh, we get to hang out and be friends and be around each other and not through masks.
Thanksgiving was 6 feet apart. Like, I'm not kidding, that year. It was crazy, but it was really nice to still feel the intimacy of that connection because we were all foreigners there. And so the expat bond of the cast and the crew, it really made it intimate, even though it was much larger.
Yeah. Well, I want to go off something Natasha said there. Carrie Coon's metaphor, putting on a wet bathing suit, which is a really great mental image and kind of sends a little chill down my spine. But Olivia, I want to come to you because you're friends and neighbors. It's a return for you. It's been a few years since you've taken on a project. And obviously Sam is a new character to you. But I'm curious, just kind of returning into a role like that. Is it like riding a bike after it's been a few years, or was there any part of you that was like, am I going to remember how to do this specific thing? Like, I'm very interested in this experience.
It was like riding a skateboard. like I can do it for a little bit, then I'm going to fall, but then I'm going to get back up again. Like it was like that because I had gone on such an emotional and physical journey, and starting with everyone's going through COVID. Then I'm going to get back out there, and then I get pregnant, and then I've got a year of pregnancy. Then 2022, I've got postpartum, deep postpartum anxiety. Then I come out of that ready to, hit the ground running, then get the breast cancer diagnosis. And then on the very tail end of that, I'm like, okay, I get this offer. And during that period, I had already made the decision to not act anymore. I called my agents and I said, don't bring me anything. I'm done. I might go behind the camera, do some other stuff, but I just didn't want to expose myself anymore. It was too much for me. And then they called me and they said, look, we know what you said, but this is an offer that we have to tell you about. And it's Jonathan Tropper, John Hamm. It's Apple TV. And they told me the story and they told me what my character was. And I was like, oh gosh, I think I have to do this. And so I had one call and then it was a pretty quick yes, but I only had to sign on for one season. That was the big thing. They're like, we won't make, because usually you have to sign on for like 6, right? So, and it was after the first season, they asked me to come on and stay longer. But I remember my first day, we're talking about John Hamm earlier, who is an amazing human being.
Anna's so good.
The best.
And hot. Sexy.
He's a great Midwestern guy in all his glory. My first day was this like a long walk and talk, which is what I love doing with the newsroom with Sorkin. And I was like, oh, my first scene with Sorkin was this long walk and talk with me and Emily Mortimer. And so I remember thinking like, okay, we're going to do this big. And I thought, I got this. And as soon as we started rolling, I just couldn't get it. When I'm saying you, the words felt thin, there was no depth to them. I was mumbling over some of the lines. The look in my eye was probably just get through this. It was probably like imagine the worst audition you've had. That's what I was doing, but now I'm on set and everyone's seeing it. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm getting nervous. And then after maybe the second or third run, John Hamm took me aside and he just said, hey, you got this. You got it. And we didn't say anything else, but I knew that he knew what I was feeling. And then just him saying that was even if I wasn't thinking he believes in me, I was thinking oh shit, he thinks I can do this. Oh man, now I got to do it. I can't let him down. And so then I think that just pushed my fear away. And then from then on, it was smooth sailing.
That's kind.
That's kind.
A walk and talk, by the way, is one of those scenes where they don't stop. The camera keeps rolling. It's 7 minutes of you walking and talking. And if it fucks up, you got to go back to the beginning and start over. And so it's a real trick of the mind in that kind of thing.
Do you count your steps during those? I just feel like that's what I would be doing. I would be like, how far am I walking today? Sorry, that's where my brain went.
It's a really, really, really great feeling when you nail it.
Yes.
When you're and especially if you nail it the first time.
Yes.
Oh, the first time. That when I did that with the newsroom, I was my first thing on set. And I knew, because I was on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. And before that, I was on a video game network. And this is a time when you couldn't be more than one thing. So people were like, who wait, she's coming from a video game network to the Daily Show? No. And then Daily Show, the Aaron Sorkin, it was like, I just had so many people like side-eyeing me. And I was like, I'm just gonna nail this. Like the bar is so low, like I can do this. And I just remember, I was like, I didn't know that you could, because this was my first real show. I didn't know you could start and reset and stop and all. I didn't know. So I thought you just had to do it. So then I just did it. And afterwards I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And it's the
And
best
heels,
feeling.
too.
Yeah. And the red bottoms.
Well, Olivia, you alluded to the many things that have been going on in your life the past couple of years. And I don't want to pry here, but I am really interested in the decision-making process of deciding what to share with people, because you have just a spotlight on you at all times. People think they are entitled to know things about you that they are not. And I welcome everyone's input on this, but Olivia, I'll start with you. How do you decide how much to let the public in on things? How do you kind of find that balance of privacy and public?
Honestly, I don't know. I think for me, it was, there's the place where in the world where you start to follow the trend. So we're like, okay, we're all doing selfies. Okay, oh my God, I saw a picture that came up my phone yesterday when I thought that it didn't look like a filter. One of those Snapchat ones. I was like, does this look like me? You know, when your eyes look like they're cats, and I was like sending this to a friend. I'm like, why do I have this in my phone? But you're following these trends. And then you get to a place where, at least for me, I'm like, after everything I've been through, I'm like, I just want to be present in the world. And like when I post about my children's birthdays and I celebrate them, I'm not doing it on the birthday. Like I'm living my life. And I think that's the big thing for me, is like, I'm just living my life. And whenever I think of a time that I maybe have a moment to do it and I want to share it, I do. But I don't center my life around what I'm going to share and what I'm going to post. I'm not constantly thinking about content. I'm not a content creator. I'm just living my life.
Yeah, I'm not an influencer. This past month, the SNAP benefits were halted. And for about the last 5-6 years, I've been an ambassador for Feeding America. And like 13, 14, maybe years ago, I was on supplemental nutrition assistance in New York City when we were auditioning. And she was and I was. I had 2 kids, and and I decided to tell people about it, that I was on SNAP. And I thought it was important because I think that I felt like women especially were particularly vulnerable to taking on a lot. And I remember weeks would go by and I wouldn't eat. I would sip coffee for most of the day and have a little bit of food off my children's plates when they were done. And it filled me with such shame and anxiety and worry. I mean, I had no peace at night knowing that I did not know how I was going to take care of my children. And I just thought, if I can help somebody, I'll talk about this. Probably similar to you. At some point I thought, me being vulnerable is likely going to put a target on me somewhere. And I did get some direct messages like, oh, another welfare mom. And I was like, fuck you. Not anymore. But I never was, actually. Let me just straighten that out. But I really thought, if I can help one person by saying, go to a food pantry. You don't have to sit at home. There are there are people out here who will help you. I knew I wanted to speak up about it. But especially for women who tend to shoulder a lot of that, I decided it was important for me to open up my life.
And for people to see you at your, yes. To have seen you where you've gotten, it's like, we all need help. And especially as women, we don't like when I think about like just even nutrition, like how I'm feeding my children and I'm like going to the end of the day. And just by telling women like, you know, about my story, and knowing that it's helping them, and knowing it, like every time we speak up and have our experience shared, it's other women somewhere, they're hearing it and feeling more comfort.
Yeah, that's the solidarity thing. When you reach out for the hand of another woman, oftentimes you find more strength, you find a greater sense of belonging in the world, and you're not alone. So that was important for me.
I definitely use my platform to talk about mental health. I have anxiety, depression, ADHD, triple threat. And
Always.
always. And I'm medicated for those. And for the longest time, I didn't talk about them and or the fact that I've chosen through my healthcare provider to have medication to help me. And I've been vocal about it almost petulantly because I'm like, I'm not going to sit with any shame. I'm going to talk about it. And I'm like, I talk about it as much as I can because that is, to me, value add of the platform. Like you, I'm not an influencer. And I had to actually get a social media manager because my page was just like, fuck Trump, like like consistently.
Can't do it. Could do it.
And so
you were
she's
yourself.
like, maybe we diversify. And I'm like, sure. So if you see things that are more influency on my account, it's because of Yolanda. She's amazing. But for me, I just love using it for advocacy, talking about the things that matter to me, talking about, the things that are happening around me, and to support and uplift organizations that need a microphone held out to them. Like, that's what I want to use my platform for. Other than that, like, to answer the question again, it's just like, I'm fiercely private. Like, there's so much, I think, as actors that we give of ourselves through performance, through press lines and talking in interviews. And there's such an expenditure of energy and soul that when I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm at home, and I'm very quiet. I'm, like I said, neurospicy. So I'm very much an introvert.
I learned that term from you too, neurospicy.
I talk about it. We all spicy. I'm caliente, but that's fine. But yeah, I think that's how I at least look at, what I say and how much of myself I give.
I think I'm maybe like a blend of this, like I am myself, I think, to borrow what you just said, fiercely private. I think that's upbringing. I think that's very uniquely Nigerian, African, where it's like, what are you telling the world? Like, this thing is, turn it off, sort of thing. But I also think there's a level of it that comes from sort of wanting to experience what I'm going through positively or challenging, like to have metabolized it for myself before I share it. Because I do believe, again, just to say it once more, in the power of words. I do recognize what it is that we do, that people are listening and paying attention and drawing their cues and choices sometimes from that position and platform. And so wanting to be really careful with and feeling responsible with what it is I share, how I share it. But I think there are incredible benefits that come from having shared stories like going through your illness, which I think about I've often of late, that I think you can impact women and their lives and the choices that they're going to make, could be going through. I take, for example, getting married. I wanted that to be a year just where we knew, and that was for us, it wasn't for anybody. And then the time came, it's so silly, to be honest with you guys. The time came for our anniversary and I wanted to post it. And I was like, oh, but I haven't told anybody.
Wait a minute, we missed a step. Yeah.
I was like, I guess I have to now, kind of a thing. But I was happy to do it. But I had already gone through the experience of that time together. We'd had that was just ours, or even if you're going through, and I think that's true for everybody, right? If you're going through saying goodbye to somebody, or if you're bringing life into this world, all of that, you want to sort of cherish that and hold it. I do anyway. I want to hold it in the way that I experience it before it becomes something beyond myself.
Something that has been really impactful for me when I have heard from other women speaking up, especially in our business, is that, we're on stage, we're talking about like women-led projects and how far things have gone for women in our business, and with ownership and autonomy on set and having deeper developed characters. But sadly, the one part that is stagnant is the negotiating table. And I think that when I've heard other women talk about it, it's made me feel a lot less alone, because for a lot of people, realize that before women show up to set, there are weeks of calls and negotiations where it is very clear we are not on the same tier as men, and worse, we're actually in competition with each other. And during those calls, we are told that we should just be happy with whatever we get.
Grateful
with what you get, of course. And if not, don't worry, we already have some other people lined up that we'd like. And sadly, it's especially true as a minority woman. And that it's really disheartening, but it's always when I hear other women speak about it, especially minority women. It doesn't mean that it's changing it, no, the business affairs people, they're not caring about it, but it changes the way that I feel. And if I want to keep working, which sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but at least when I take these offers and I go, okay, then it's kind of like, it means a lot that other people speak up about it.
Well, it's the whisper network, which is real among women in Hollywood, because I've been in negotiations and they're just like, well, we can't tell you what that actress is making. And I'll be like, girl, what you making? And I'll bring it back and they're like, how does she know? And I was like, we talk. So it's such power in that.
I've done that. And then they go, well, no. And it's usually if the actress was white. Oh, sorry, guys.
Well, this is when
she ain't getting coffee.
This is when the real powerful word comes in. It's no. It's so hard, though. I mean, I often say no to things. And it's because it's also about that conversation around integrity. I can't be kind on set if I'm not getting paid well. I just can't. It's very hard for me to bring my best self into the room. And I want to always be able to bring myself up and bring the room up and bring the story up. But I can't if I don't have no money. Do you know what I mean?
Have you had to, since the success of the morning show, have you had to still fight for?
100%.
Girl,
I was fighting last week. Are you kidding me? Fight all the time.
How does that feel? Like,
it feels shitty, but I know that I'm fighting today for what I'm gonna make in the future. I'm building calluses. If I don't fight on the morning show or on Forever or in Just Like That, the next actress who comes on will have to fight even harder.
100%.
If I don't fight with Netflix or if Uzo doesn't fight with Netflix, then I'm gonna have to fight harder on Netflix. Do you know what I mean?
are you still fighting?
Yes, of course. And I think the powerful thing that the word that Karen just used that I think is that's worth leaning into is the power of no. It's not just a complete sentence, but it's a grounding and an understanding and a communication of what you're worth. I think sometimes it's easy to equate negativity to the word no and positivity to the word yes.
100%.
Somebody said something about and be grateful for, Karen, I think that was you, and being grateful for what you're being offered, right? And the real truth of the matter is, I think that no, not only is it a boundary setting piece of language, but no is actually a word of love for yourself. And yes can be a tool of fear.
Yep.
When you're afraid, because when you are operating from a place of fear is nothing more than coming from a place of scarcity. A worry that the next thing's not going to come around, or this, I got to grab this now, or it's not going, right? And when you have love for your love when you give it, when you're able to receive it, it comes from a place of an abundance. It's a place of abundance. Something else will come. If you're doing the work, if you're putting in the time, if you're keeping your faith, whatever that is in, faith is just another definition for the understanding of belief. It's like you can then, when those conversations happen, like it's a powerful thing to say, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not going to work for this anymore. It's a powerful thing to know your worth, to know your value, in the system, what you bring to the table. And I think what it is going to be the next marker mover for women is, number one, our collective unification in our no, right? Because that can help to impact collective bargaining as well. But also, too, I think it moves the goalpost as an individual as well. If you are rejecting the social conditioning of women being empowered to say no. Society has told us not to love ourselves enough, not to lean into our power, to lean into scarcity and fear. That's why the competition exists. That's why the internal competing exists. But if you just operate from, you know what? Thank you, no. And I have said no many a time because I know the job isn't right for me. What is being offered in terms of how you are trying to shape or shift my idea of myself is not true. And so I'm not going to co-sign your
version of
me.
me.
Your
Yeah.
version.
And sometimes I say no, thank you. Sometimes I just say no. Do you know what I mean? Like that's a full fucking sentence in my book. Do you know what I mean? And some of it negotiation wise, is just a game of chicken. You're gonna say no before me. Do you know what I mean? You're not gonna get me for that. No. Do you know what I mean? If you look at it like it's a game of chicken, who's gonna give up first? Not me. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know if that translates though, Olivia, because I see you. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say, for yes and amen to everything, that the good the good word. But I have to honor and acknowledge that there may be those in this room that have fear around that no, because you have to eat, right?
100%.
And so that's not necessarily what we're talking about in those moments, because there's a lot of shit that I had to eat when I wanted to say no, but I had to pay for my rent. But I do think that now that I'm in a position to say no, it's imperative that I do, for the reasons that you guys said. And I will also say that, like, the way I move on set, if there's someone that is a person of color on set that's younger than me, who said yes to this because they wanted to, but they also have issues and concerns that they are afraid to raise, I avail myself. And I say to them, I'm just like, do you want to do that, baby? You want to do? Okay. And then it's just like, oh, you don't know, he's not doing that, you know? And Nicholas Duvernay, who played Zion for White Lotus, my son, I became very maternal over him on set, even though we're the same age. Thank you. That was kind. She said, I believe you. But I told him from jump, I was just like, anything you need, because he came on to Lotus after it became like Echo Lotus, and I was just like, and I think that's an important part of this, is like knowing that our yes and no, it's a trickle-down benefit of that.
When you're saying, I was thinking when you were saying that, I 100% felt everything you're saying. What I was thinking of was that it's really powerful to say no if you know that the woman who is, if you can call that woman to be like, hey, I heard they're negotiating with me. They're telling me that you're in my second position, but they're not giving me what I deserve. Will you hold my back on this? You know, because I think a lot of times people are like waiting, like, oh, I'm gonna wait for her to say no, and then I'll be right there. And I support you, but it's to be able to have real transparent conversations with each other and know that there is enough for us to eat at the table.
That's right.
And to just have, like, hold my back a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Ladies, this is about to be the worst no that I have to say all day. Unfortunately, we have no more time.
This is a real conversation,
I'm sorry, but
though.
thank you all
This
for
is the
being
money
on the stage with us. We
conversation.
love you. Give it up, guys. Guys, thank you so much.